What is going on, internet world? My name is Tommy. You probably know me as Rivet, and I'm your coach of the Atlanta Braviaries, the highest flying, flyest looking team on YouTube. And today, we are bringing you the first battle of the Showdown Draft Federation Season 5 against the Boston Beartics and Coach Death Apple, aka Corpesius. This is going to be a great match. Welcome to the workshop. Alrighty guys, we are here breaking down our matchup for our Week 1 battle of the SDF against the Boston Beartics and Coach Death Apple. He's got a really scary team, but I think we have a pretty good squad to take him on this week. His first mon is Jirachi, an incredibly solid Steel and Psychic type, very offensive and very defensive. It's capable of doing so many great things. With the Serene Grace ability, Iron Head spamming is obviously very easy. It also gets other great physical moves such as Zen Headbutt, the Elemental Punches, it can U-turn out. And then it also runs special sets incredibly well. It can run moves like Flash Cannon, Psychic, Thunderbolt, Aura Sphere. It has a tremendous move pool, pretty much hits everything. And it's a great support mon as well with moves like Stealth Rock. It can Wish Pass, which is really scary, and throw off a variety of status. Jirachi kind of messes me up this week. I definitely think it comes either a Calm Mind 3 attack set, which could be really scary, or a Choice Scarf set, or maybe like a Stealth Rocking Wishing variant, like max HP, max speed, something of the sort. So I'm definitely a little bit worried about Jirachi. I have a pretty good option to revenge a non-Scarf variant in Dragapult at least, and some pretty decent answers to shut down its dual stab. However, its coverage kind of messes me up, so I have to be really careful of how I play around Jirachi and figure out what set it is immediately. Next up, Latios, an incredibly strong Wall Breaker, Dragon and Psychic type, again with incredible coverage. Base 130 special attack, it's incredibly hard. Base 110 speed, it is very fast. And Draco Meteor plus Psychic or Psyshock is an incredible dual stab. Gets other coverage moves such as Aura Sphere, Mystical Fire, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Energy Ball, Surf. It gets everything, and it hits everything on my team incredibly hard. If he brings something, like Draco Meteor, Psychic, Thunderbolt, like Aura Sphere, something of the sort, it kind of just runs my entire team, especially with something like Choice Spectre or Life Orb. So I'm very scared of Latios. I got to make sure I figure out what set it is, immediately play around it. If he's Choice Specs, that'll be pretty bad. I'll be able to play around it a little bit. But if he's like Life Orb 4 attacks or Calm Mind Life Orb 3 attacks, I'll be in a lot of trouble. Next up is Clefable, an incredibly bulky Fairy type with the Magic Guard and Unaware abilities. Very good move pool against stuff like Moonblast, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam. It can soft boiled up for recovery and Wish as well. It can set Stealth Rocks, it can teleport out, it can Thunder Wave. It's a great utility mon. It also has great setup options with stuff like Calm Mind and Cosmic Power, which could be really scary. So in this match, I would definitely expect a physically defensive Clefable, either with Calm Mind and stuff like Moonblast and Flamethrower, or a more utility set, just like Stealth Rock, Soft Boiled, or Wish, Moonblast, maybe something like Thunder Wave to handle my Mega Gallade. Next up, Arcanine, a very fast and offensive Fire type, base 95 speed, and 110 attack and 100 special attack with the Flash Fire and Intimidate abilities. A very good mon. It fulfills a variety of roles very, very well. It can either be offensive with stuff like Choice Band or Life Orb, with moves like Flare Blitz, Crunch, Wild Charge, Extreme Speed. It also is a very good defensive mon with Intimidate, and it can run stuff like Morning Sun. It can throw off Toxics, use special moves like Flamethrower as well. So Arcanine, not sure if it comes this week. It doesn't do a whole lot for him. What it would check in Bisharp, it doesn't do very well, especially if he's carrying Intimidate, because Defiant would kind of mess him up. So not really expecting Arcanine this week. If it comes, I have the tools to handle it, I believe. Next up is Alolan Muck, incredibly bulky Poison and Dark type, a great Assault Vest user. This is his best response to especially offensive Dragapult. Knockoffs hit incredibly hard, Poison Jabs and Gunk Shots as well, in conjunction with the Poison Touch ability to spread some status. Gets other moves like the Elemental Punches, Rock Slide, Shadow Sneak. So Muck I would probably expect in this match just as a general special wall to switch into stuff like Shadow Wall and Draco from Dragapult. It can also take on Toxtricity fairly well. Next up, in conjunction with my Toxtricity spamming Boom Burst, he's got Exploud, an incredibly strong wall breaker with a scrappy ability. It's got moves like Boom Burst, obviously, Hydro Pump, Fire Blast, Focus Blast. So Exploud in this match, incredibly scary. I don't have a super good answer to it because it gets two coverage moves that hit my Steel types in Flamethrower and Focus Blast that completely destroy those. And those are my only two things that resist Boom Burst. So definitely scared of Exploud in this match. I have a variety of things that can revenge kill it, so hopefully that stops him from bringing it. But if he does bring Exploud, I have to be really, really careful about how I handle it, and hopefully he misses a Focus Blast. Next up, Sandaconda, very bulky ground type, a great Stealth Rock setter, and Utility Mon, moves like Earthquake and Stone Edge hit pretty hard, coming off of 100 attack, I believe. It's got great utility moves. Stealth Rocks, as I said, you can glare stuff to slow them down, and it can rest with Shed Skin ability to heal up. I have a really good response to it in Gliscor. I just got to make sure I get my poison heal off before he can glare me. But once that's off, I can come in on that every single time. Next up, Mantine, another bulky special, wall, flying, and water type. Roost for longevity, it's a great defogger. It can scald status, it gets moves like Air Slash and Hurricane. And Mantine, again, not sure if it comes this week. It would be a decent answer to special attacking Dragapult. However, Dragapult does learn Thunderbolt, and now it's in that for a pretty good ride, especially if I was Life Orb or Choice Specs, so I think Muck fulfills the special wall a little bit better. Next up, Morpeko, a fast, an offensive, electric, and dark type. A good rapid spinner with a really cool signature move and signature ability in Aura Wheel and Hunger Switch. Not sure if Morpeko comes this week just because Gliscor shuts it down pretty hard. I do believe it learns Ice Fang, but Morpeko isn't super strong, so Gliscor, even with an Ice Fang, it would take that on fairly well. And then next up, he's got Sawsbuck, a normal and grass type with the Serene Grace abilities, and I believe Sap Sipper. Not sure if Sawsbuck comes this week. Again, Gliscor kind of shuts it down. He could bring it if he's really scared of Feeny, so maybe an offensive Sawsbuck with something like Horn Leech to recover some HP. But otherwise, not really sure if Sawsbuck comes. And then last but not least, he's got Wormadam. He does have all three forms, the Trashy, Sandy, and Grassy, I believe they are. I don't really know. It's a bulky Quiver Dancer. It's very, very slow. It can use moves like Iron Defense as well. And then it's Wormadam. It's not very good. But, I have a sneaking suspicion he might try to bring it. Just because, we're buddies, and he's kind of cheesy sometimes. So with that out of the way, let's hop into what I am bringing this Smash. Just kick off the season. First off, J20 the Dragapult. He's coming with an offensive pivoting set this week with Dragon Fang and Infiltrator abilities, Dragon Dart, Shadow Ball, U-Turn, and Dragon Dance. Max attack with the Naughty Nature, enough speed to outspeed Latios if he's not Choice Scarf, and then the rest thrown into special attack to boost up my Shadow Ball, Dragon Dart, Shadow Ball, U-Turn, and Dragon Dance. So this set is a really good pivot this week. It pivots out on Clefable incredibly well. It pivots out on Muck. Muck kind of comes in on this to take the Dracos and Shadow Balls, so U-Turn or Dragon Darts will do a lot to that thing. Dragon Darts hits Latios incredibly hard. Shadow Ball hits Jirachi. If he's offensive Jirachi, Shadow Ball does over half, even though I'm not max special attack or choice specs or anything. So this set kind of runs his team. I gotta play it incredibly carefully. I can't lose it to a Choice Scarf, Latios, or Jirachi, so I gotta make sure I know what those are before I start going in with this thing. But the Infiltrator is there for a potential sub-com on Latios, which would be pretty scary. I considered Clear Body to help me with Intimidate from Arcanine, but I have better answers to Arcanine, and I think that the possibility of sub-com on Latios is pretty strong, so I'd rather have Infiltrator. So J20 looking really good. It's a great pivot in the early game, condense some of his special walls, and then in the late game, I do have Dragon Dance on there for a potential cleaning option. Dragon Darts hits this entire team incredibly hard, except for Clefable, but I can pivot out on that with U-Turn incredibly safely into something else. So really hoping J20 does some good work this week. Next up, we got the Eminent Wensis coming with Gallade, obviously, the Justified ability pre-Mega to try to take advantage of some knockoffs, close combat, knockoff, Poison Jab, and Substitute, max attack, max speed, Jolly, to outspeed, to speed tie Latios, Close combat hits a lot of things really, really hard. Smashes Muck, smashes Arcanine and X-Cloud. Knockoff is there for Latios and Jirachi on the switch in, and Poison Jab is there for Clefable. Substitute is just for switching in against stuff like Muck that's not going to stay in. I can sub up against potentially Clefable coming in, Jirachi coming in, and then I can click the appropriate move. So Emin's looking really, really strong this week. I got to play her right. This is definitely a big wall breaker for me. It really appreciates the pivoting from J20, so hopefully those two can work in conjunction to break down some of his bigger walls, like Mantine, Muck, and Sandaconda. Next up, we got Batman Gliscor. He's coming with a physically defensive set, an Earthquake, U-Turn, Stealth Rock, and Roost with the Poison Heal ability and the Toxic Orb. This is my best switch in. A lot of the times to Jirachi. It can run Ice Punch, and I'm definitely expecting Ice Punch. So that has a potential to two-shot me, but if he locks into it, I can switch into something else to take that. Earthquake hits Muck incredibly hard. This is another great Muck switch in. Especially once I get my Poison Heal off, it's a very good knockoff switch in. U-Turn is there for pivoting. Stealth Rock's just for hazards. He doesn't have super fantastic removal, so I'd love to get some chip on stuff like Muck, or Arcanine if he's not Boots, or Mantine if he's not Boots, something of the sort, just to help out Ammon and J20. And then Roost just for longevity in conjunction with Poison Heal. Next up, we got Esperanza, the Tapu Fini, coming with a specially defensive set with leftovers, Scald, Moonblast, Taunt, and Protect. Max HP, max special defense. This is my best primary switch into Latios. Psychic will do a lot to me. If he's got Psyshock instead, that'll definitely crunch me. If he's Choice Specs, But Moonblast does a lot in return. If he's not Choice Specs, if he's Choice Scarf, I can handle it a little bit better. Moonblast sends that thing for a pretty good ride, doing up to 71%. Scald is there for stuff like Arcanine. It also hits Anaconda very well. Taunt is there for stopping Mantine from defogging or something of the sort. It also stops setup Clefable, which is great. And then Protect just for scouting for stuff like Latios and Jirachi and Clefable, and to help me get a little bit of leftovers recovery back, because I need this thing to stay around to check Latios. Since it doesn't have the most fantastic longevity and I'm not running Draining Kiss, I need the damage on Moonblast to hit Latios. So I got to try to keep this thing around to check Latios. I do have a secondary check to it, but that could go wrong in the blink of an eye. So speaking of that, next up, we got Checkmate the Bisharp running an Assault Vest set this week with the Defiant ability. Knock off Iron Head, Sucker Punch, and Stone Edge. Max HP, enough attack with the Adamant Nature to clean 2-shot. Physically defensive Clefable with Iron Head. 12 speed on there to outspeed uninvested Sandaconda. And then the rest thrown into special defense in conjunction with my Assault Vest to make this as tanky as possible to take on Latios. Latios does learn Aura Sphere, definitely expecting him to bring either Aura Sphere or Mystical Fire to hit my 2 steals. So I got to make sure that I don't send this thing into an Aura Sphere, because even with a lot of SDF and Assault Vest, Specs Aura Sphere just kind of outgoes me. So I got to play this thing very, very smart. I can't lose it to an Aura Sphere from either that or Jirachi, but Knockoff pressures both of those incredibly hard. Iron Head smacks Clefable. Sucker Punch hits the 2 fast Psychics. If they're locked in, especially if they're like Choice Specs or Choice Scarf, I can lock into that fairly safely, and if he switches out to something else, then whatever. And then Stone Edge is there to hit Mantine. I really need Checkmate to do some good work to help keep Esperanza around. Just having the 2 of those makes the prediction game a little bit easier, and it at least gives me a prediction game. And then last but not least, we got Fyro the Talonflame coming with a speedy defensive support set this week with heavy duty boots in the Flame Body ability, Flamethrower, U-Turn, Roost, and Defog. This is another good answer to come in against Jirachi. Might be able to catch a burn on something like an Iron Head or a U-Turn. Flamethrower hits that pretty hard, even uninvested. U-Turn is there for pivoting, something like Sandaconda or Mantine coming in. Roost just for longevity, and then Defog to remove any hazards set by something like Jirachi, Clefable, or Sandaconda. So that's the team we're rocking with. This is a pretty scary matchup. He's got some really strong stuff that kind of rips my defensive core apart. So I got to be really careful of how I manage this, but I'm really stoked to get into this. So without any further ado, let's hop into this match. Alrighty guys, we're about to hop into this week 1 match against Death Apple and the Boston Beartics. You can see the 6 I expect them to bring up on the screen. Jirachi, Latios, Clefable, Muck, Alola, Exploud, and that Sandaconda. You can definitely see that Spucker Wormadam thrown in there if he's feeling cheesy, or maybe something like Arcanine, but you've seen the 6 I am bringing and why I am bringing them. So without any further ado, let's hop into the SDF and let's hop into this match. Okay, we see Mantine and Arcanine. That's not terrible. Very excited to not see Exploud. I didn't really want to have to deal with switching in from that, and no Sandaconda either. So if he's got hazards, it's on Rachi or that Clefable. Alright. Mantine, Arcanine. I'm very excited to not see Wormadam or Sawsbuck, because that means he's taking this seriously. But this is going to be a great game. Tommy and I are pretty good buddies, but he is a very strong battler. So with very strong instincts, that kind of counterplays my style. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, from a lead perspective, he could definitely lead Jirachi just to pivot or set hazards. He could definitely lead Clefable, same thing, to pivot, set hazards, or to scout what I'm going to do, set up Wish. He could lead Latios just to put on offensive pressure. Oh man, what do I want to do here? This is a pretty important lead matchup. I don't want to lead J20 just because if he does lead to something like a Scarf Latios or Jirachi, I don't want to be forced to switch straight away. I want to lead something a little bit more reliable. So part of me wants to lead Feeny. It's a pretty solid lead. It matches up fairly well against everything, except for Muck. But then Muck, I have a fairly easy switch into. I don't want to switch into Gliscor because I want to get my Toxic Orb off. But I like leading Gliscor. I think if he leads Rachi and goes for Ice Punch, I can scout and going into Talonflame. If he leads Latios, then I just have to go hard into Esperanza. Hopefully he clicks Ice Beam, not Draco, or hopefully he clicks Ice Beam or Draco, not Thunderbolt. So I'm going to lead Batman. I think it's not a terrible lead, so he's going to start with Muck. That's totally cool with me. If he wants to stay in an Ice Punch, that's fine. If he wants to go for a knockoff, that'd be kind of bad, but I'm just going to set some rocks here. I don't see his removal, so he's just going to go hard into Latios. That's cool. I'm going to get my poison off, which is cool. And then now I'm just going to go into Esperanza. Hopefully he clicks Draco. Let's see what he goes for and how much he does. He's going to go for Ice Beam. Cool. Very glad to see that Ice Beam come out. And let's calc that damage really quick. Tommy, if you're watching this, I'm playing as quickly as possible so as to not irritate you. Tommy likes to go fast. All right, we see Ice Beam, Choice, Specs. All right, that's definitely not Choice Specs. That's probably Choice Scarf. Or he's something else. But he's not. He doesn't look like he's Specs. So I'm going to go for a nice little Moonblast here. He goes right into Raji. That's fine. I'm going to go into Batman here. Or I can go into Fire Arrow if he sets his own rocks, or goes for Thunder Punch. He might go for Ice Punch here or Iron Head. I'm going to go into Fire Arrow just because I have U-turn on that, and I can pressure pretty hard with the Flamethrower. So let's do that. Fire Arrow's going to come out here. He goes for Thunder Punch, and he crits me. Oh, God. He's Life Orb. Right, well, that means I can Roost. That crit is pretty bad, but a Roost here is going to come out. Hopefully, he doesn't crit me again. Life Orb Jirachi's pretty scary. That was a great break. So he's going to go into Latios here. This thing might be... I still don't know what this Latios... Oh, I was looking at Latias, that's why. I'm stupid as hell. Yeah, that Ice Beam... Ice Beam doing 10. That was a Min Roll on Scarf. So if I were to bet this is Scarf, he's probably going to go for Thunderbolt this time if he's got it. I'm going to go into Checkmate. If he goes for Mystical Fire or a Sphere Great Play, if he goes for Shadow Ball, that's fine. And I'm going to go for a nice little knockoff here. He probably goes into Arcanine, hopefully. But he's gonna, if he's Intimidate, he's gonna take a ton from my boosted knockoff. So Mantine comes out. This is gonna hurt this thing pretty bad. He's not Boots. Bonk. Knockoff his leftovers. Cool. And then I want to click Stone Edge here. He might outspeed me. If he Scald Burns me, that'd be pretty bad. But I think, let's see, that did 36. So he's very bulky. It looks like he's max. A Stone Edge would totally kill this thing. I have a pretty reliable answer in Esperanza. He can Roost here, though, and I don't want to let him do that. So I'm going to go for Stone Edge and hope I hit it. Cool. All right. Checkmate with the first kill of the SDF. Attaboy Bishop would have hit that. He's got his glasses on today, boys. Let's go. All right. One kill down. He's going to intimidate me. He's going to boost me up, though. But I am definitely not faster than this thing, and I definitely don't want to stay in. So I'm going to go hard. I could go for Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch would dent me, would dent this thing. Especially if he's offensive. But I definitely don't want to take that play. Sucker Punch. Doesn't do nearly enough, it looks like. Yeah. So I'm going to go hard into Batman. He can't touch him. He's going to go for Flare Off. That's totally fine. I don't think he stays in here. He probably goes out into Latios or Clefable. I'm just going to go for a nice U-turn here. Probably get the slow pivot. If he's really slow and he stays in and goes for something else, then that's totally fine. I can just go into Feeny. But U-turn here looking pretty good. Be able to put on some more offensive pressure into whatever he goes into. If he goes into Rachi, probably go into Pult, threaten pretty hard with a Shadow Ball. Or Gallade, actually. He's going to go into Muck. Totally cool. And I'm going to just go straight into Ammon, probably. Because he can pressure pretty hard. That did 14. Calc that damage really quick. Fly score. He turned during 14. Yeah. So he's uninvested. So Ammon coming in bonks this thing pretty hard. He doesn't have a good switch into Ammon Annoyances at this point. So we're going to go straight into Gallade here. And I'm going to click a nice big close combat. I can also go for sub, but I think I'd like clicking Clefable can come in. So worst case scenario is I sub and he clicks Gunk Shot and breaks it. So I'm just going to go for a sub here. Clefable probably comes out, and then I can click Poison if he stays in. What do you go for? Knockoff? Gunk Shot? Go for knockoff. That's fine. All right, I'm just going to CC then. This should probably kill this thing. Yep. All right, well, a little bit of chip on Gallade. That's not the end of the world. Clefable's still very healthy and just sitting there, so you got to be wary of that. But this is going pretty okay. Clef comes out. Hard to checkmate here. If he goes for Flamethrower, great play. I can live it with my Assault Vest. If he goes for Protect, totally cool with that. Arcanine might come out here. I don't think you stay in. I'm going to knock off. I'll knock off his leftovers. If he goes into anything else, it's going to dent it. So let's do that. All right, knock off his lefties. He probably goes for Flamethrower here. It's not going to do a whole lot. He tosses off a Wish. He can protect or try to go into something else. I'm going to click knockoff again. See what he goes in. We'll see what he does. He goes into Arcanine. Yeah, this thing's dead. He's going to boost me up, and he's taking a big ol' knockoff here. So, checkmate. 2 on the board. Attaboy. Doing some good stuff. Clef's going to come back out here. I'll click a nice big Iron Head. He's going to protect. That's totally okay. It doesn't really do anything. Your leftovers are gone. I can go into Rachi. But I'm just going to Sucker this time. He's Life Orb. Unless he goes for Wish or something. Or if he goes for Sub, that'd be bad. But I'll go for a nice Sucker Punch here. Hopefully, he goes for something. Alright. Checkmate. He's out here. He's out here clicking some schmoves. Alright, Latios comes out here. I don't want to risk the fact that he's got worth. I mean, this thing's probably Choice Scarf. I'm going to go for Sucker Punch again. I mean, I think he's Choice Scarfed. Alright, well, Checkmate is just going to pick up. I think he's just going to pick up 5 kills here. Bisharp popping off. Iron Head. Click the move. Click it. Click it. Oh, nice little crit to end it, but GG's to Death Apple. That's a 6-0, and that's what I call a riveting win. Perfect start to kick off the SDF. Checkmate doing some fantastic stuff. I don't even think Pult saw the field. So, this team rocking even without Mr. Busted himself. But, oh man. GG's to Death Apple. Thanks for getting this game in. Super stoked for this season. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Check out for NPBA playoffs. That'll be happening later this week. NPBA start of the season will be happening later this week with ISL playoffs following that. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.